Hello and welcome back to a brand new segment of the Strong Collectors Podcast. This is going to be the Marvel's Comic Book Club. I'm going to be your host for this one. Jordan may pop in from time to time, but we just wanted to give you guys a little bit more throughout the week. We're going to do slightly shorter episodes with these, and this is going to be talking about some comic book stories that I've read recently. I'm going to be mainly using the Marvel Unlimited app. However, I'm going to make sure that I post all of the links to these books that we're going to be talking about on Amazon. So you guys can always go click there, get yourself the book. Always go to your local library, see if they've got it too. That's how I've read a lot of books too. I'm going to try to make sure that you know well in advance what we're going to be talking about, so you have time to go ahead and read those books. And then when we come together, then we can kind of have more of that discussion because you've known that there's not going to be spoilers. This is also good for if you are wondering if you should read a comic book. I can kind of give you my take on whether it was good or not. Admittedly, most of these books that we're going to be talking about are books that I tend to lean more towards enjoying. And I think if it's like an important enough story, then I may not enjoy it, but it's something I think we should talk about. Also, I kind of want to tie in action figures to this because this is the Strong Collectors Podcast, and we're talking about action figures most of the time. And that a lot of times does dictate what books I'm going to be reading because, for example, if you go back and watch our top 10 all-time list, I really enjoyed the Ironheart figure. Now, I had never read any Ironheart comic books until this year, but I had had that figure for a little bit. And since I liked that character so much, that figure so much, I wanted to go and see, like, what is this character all about? Would I like the comic books as much as I like the figure? And that ended up being the case. I really liked those books. So we're going to be talking about that in the future. Not going to be in our first few episodes, but you can guarantee that we're going to talk about that because that ended up being one of my favorite books. But our first three storylines that we're going to be talking about, we're going to start out with Secret Invasion. We've got that coming up in the MCU. That was a super cool storyline. I really liked that one. So if you haven't read that one, highly recommend. I'll put the link to like just the regular volume. If you can find some of the tie-ins, maybe an omnibus, that could be a really cool idea because I think the tie-ins really make this story really cool. So we're going to start with just like the main overarching story, and then maybe we'll come back around to doing some tie-ins, and that may kind of like beef up your love of that story as well. Then second, we're going to do the all-new Ghost Rider. I think that one, I wanted to read that because, you know, Hasbro tried to do the Engine of Vengeance and it didn't get funded, but still, they chose to do that. And I didn't really know anything about that character, so I wanted to go back and read and see, like, was this a character that, like, dang, now I really wish that they had got that made, or was it like, I don't mind too bad that they didn't get it made. I mean, for the price, we've talked about several times, like, it really didn't matter how much I love that character. The price was a little too much. But anyway, we're going to be reading about Robbie Reyes and All New Ghost Rider. I'm going to leave a link to Volume 1 and Volume 2. That's going to be in the same episode. We're just going to finish the story because it was only 12 issues long. And it's a pretty quick read, too. And then third, we're going to be talking about the Astonishing X-Men. And that, so far, I haven't read a lot of the more recent stuff, but the Astonishing X-Men line, that was my favorite, I think, out of any X-Men story I've ever read. And even like as far as all comic books go, it's probably in my top 10 all-time stories. So that one's a little bit longer. It's a volume 1, 2, 3, 4, and then there's an ultimate collection you can get as well. I'm going to leave all those links down below, and I think that may be a 2-part episode. I'll let you know kind of as we get nearer to it. We'll see how long the Secret Invasion and the all-new Ghost Rider episodes take. If I want to try to keep these around 10 minutes, 15 at most, but probably leaning more towards 10. So we'll see how this all goes, and then probably split that X-Men one up into 2. I want to know what you guys want to read. If you guys have suggestions of what I should be talking about on the show, leave the comment down below. Let me know what we should be reading. I've kind of got a list backlogged right now, so that way we can keep the show coming out on a regular basis. Ideally, I want this to come out every week, so whenever this ends up airing, we'll try to keep it on that day each week. So I'm going to try to stick to that. I'm going to keep reading my comics so that I can do that. And yeah, links are all going to be down in the description below. They're going to be Amazon affiliate links, so clicking those will help out the channel. You don't have to. Obviously, if you're like I do, if you've got Marvel Unlimited, just read them there. If you've got the local library, go pick them up there. All those things are great. Or you don't have to read them, or if you've read them before, just get a past review from me. I think that's all I've got for you today. So stick around. Coming soon. Let's go 1 week from now. We're going to have the first episode of the Strong Collectors Marvel Comic Book Club airing. So until then, make sure you're liking, sharing, subscribing, and stay strong.